talk with every sip and laugh. Coffee's the fuel, martini's the craft. Conversations swirling in the cool night air.
Oh gosh, where's our applause, Alan?
Good evening, Leanne.
Good morning, Alan.
Ah,
Oh, that coffee is delicious. Hey, we are look at us. We're starting a minute before we're meant to begin.
well, people get an extra minute of value is how I look at that.
That's fantastic. So if you're joining us, welcome to Talk the Walk. And if you're jumping on the replay, let us know where you're joining from. Alan, I know you're back home now, but you've had a pretty exciting week or two. Where have you been?
We went to Portugal. I did some, one of my groups, one of my growth cycles decided to meet there. There were two people from Australia, a person from the UK, Canada, US. And this is like a 12th or 14th meeting all over the world, Fiji, you name it. And we had just a great time. I spent 2 days with the group, but my wife and I went to Porto and then to Lisbon. And
Yeah.
the last time we were in Portugal was 50 years ago. And people say, has it changed? I say, I don't remember. I mean, great people, wonderful food, architecture, and the history. I was looking for a church for us to go to for vigil mass on a Saturday online, and I found this wonderful church. And it says it was completed in 1487. Completed in 1487, still in use. And,
Incredible.
I say to people, we're celebrating our 250th anniversary as a country. And somebody says, we have furniture older than that. So we got to put things in perspective. The other thing is, it is hilly. It makes San Francisco seem flat.
Yeah.
Hills. So you walk uphill to the restaurant, and then you walk uphill back to the hotel. I don't know how that happens.
I've been, the last time I was in Portugal was 2006, so 20 years ago. And it wasn't, so we're talking today about high-end client experiences, premium experiences. For me back then in 2006, it was the opposite of that. It was like on a backpacker budget, walking around with I think I just had Pringles. That was my snack of choice. It got me through the day, and then some 2-minute noodles at the hostel afterwards. I'd love to get back to Portugal now. It would be very different.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It was really a wonderful trip. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, no worries. I love the photos. And so if you are joining us, let us know if you've been to Portugal or where you're joining us from as well. So today's topic, Alan, like I said before, is designing high-end client experiences. I think it might be fun to start off with, it's always good to define actually what we mean by that. So can you share what your thoughts are on what defines, what is a high-end client experience?
I do two different kinds, and I've always done two different kinds, and I'm still doing them. So one kind is you have a lot of people, and by that I mean 125, 150 people, and you do something for 2.5 days or so, outside speaker, you spend a lot of money on this, and I can explain the particulars a little later on, but that's one. The second one is what I'm doing now. Next month I'll go to London and Paris, and in June I'll go to LA, and you have a few people. Typically I get a penthouse and a suite kind of thing, and 7 to 10 people maybe. And we have a very high-end experience in terms of what we discuss, what they're paying, and so on. And, for example, the group in London, I'm taking for dinner to a Michelin restaurant.
Wow.
And
cool.
in LA, if you pay $10,000, you can have dinner with me in one of my favorite restaurants.
Well, I mean, does anyone on the chat want to take Alan up on that offer?
I already have one. So,
I mean, I think, so I love that. And I was gonna say, I've done a high-end client experience. I don't think it was my red carpet camp out. So it's still not, but it was these were luxury tents. We had a private chef. The beautiful thing about, it was incredible. The food was amazing, just being out in nature. Yeah, it was totally.
how many?
We had 9 people join us, and we're still part of we became such great mates. We're still talking on WhatsApp and still connected. So yeah, there's something about a unique experience that really does bring people together. We've got Dee Dee that says, sharing welcome back. So I just thought I might share that on the screen. Great to have you back, Dee Dee. Let us know if you design high-end client experiences. So Alan, let's talk about the big one that you were talking about before, 150 people. You bring in outside speakers. What's happening in that format?
Well, first of all, you have to have a lot of courage to do this. So what happens is this. You don't do this at a really high-end hotel. I mean, you do this at a hotel like a Marriott that knows how to stage these things. I'm not going to a Four Seasons with this. And, I get 125, 150 people. I get about 10 people as volunteers. I give them red hats, volunteer hats. They get in for free. but they're the wranglers. They get people from one place to another. They answer questions. They handle sales. I'll talk about that in a minute. I spend about 30 or 35,000 on an outside speaker, which is my fee. So I pay the equivalent to an outsider. Yeah, I've gotten so Dan Pink and people like that. The Jonah Berger from the Wharton
I
School.
love Jonah Berger.
Yeah. So these are
He's
people that,
incredible. Yeah.
great. And then I get about for $35,000 an AV crew, and the AV crew films everything. Right. They have a B roll. They hit people in the aisles and people in the halls, and then the A roll, what's going on. So usually I open it with a keynote. Then we have concurrent sessions, and I might have 4 or 5 concurrent sessions. And these are people I know or from my community. They do this for free because they want to be associated with it. But I know they're very, very good. So each session might have 30 people in it. Then I'll have another plenary session with perhaps the guest speaker. And then there'll usually be one more plenary session with someone from my community who I know is good enough to do that. And we'll have 2 sets of the concurrent so that people can see several things they want to see because we repeat them.
Yes.
So we have, we have buffet food for breakfast and for lunch. People tend to get together and make friends and go out for dinner. And I hand out a program, everybody gets a program, but in the program is an order form. And the order form is for my various products and services, my elite coaching and so forth. Now, and the volunteers collect these whenever somebody has one. Now, here's the thing. It costs, I get $150,000 in ticket sales revenues to come, but I spend $150,000 on this. However, I get another $150,000 in spinoff business.
Yeah.
And that's the profit. So I said, you have the courage to do this.
You do have to have courage. And what I love about that, so I'm running I've got 50 people coming to my con in June, but you're right, like events themselves aren't very profitable at all. And if you want to make it a great experience and bring in AV and, other elements, it pretty much isn't cost neutral exercise if you're doing it well. Sometimes even cash flow negative for a lot of people. They see it as a marketing opportunity. I just want to share this quote from DD before I ask you the next question. And we've got Andy here as well. DD, I'll see Alan in LA, but I might be eating Pringles. Andy shares, hi, Andy equals high touch. The expectations are completely different to the large group. Shorter time. Outcomes are also tied to the high-end price tag. I love designing high-end experiences, but I have my limit to how many I can handle at once. Alan, as I'm hearing from you, there's a bit of effort that goes into you designing this, getting the speakers and everything else. So tell me, you wouldn't do this, once a year, you'd probably say once every couple of years?
I did it once every 12 to 18 months. I did about 4 or 5 of them. We did one in Australia, for example. We had fewer people there, but I expected that. It was kind of a high price for the currency exchange and everything.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit, and people stopped going places, But they were tremendous fun. And the other end of that is, that man just implied is that when you have just a small group of 7 to 10 people, the expectations are much higher. While there's nice socialization, it's not the kind of socialization you get with 125 people. And so I tend to present a lot of provocation and IP and high value stuff there, so that they're saying, well, I never would have heard this before.
Yeah, I was going to say, so I've caught up with you in Hawaii. We had our growth cycle there. On day 1, we had this hotel room. There were no windows. It was like super stuffy. And then you said, hey, let's just run this out of my suite on day 2. And that was like so good. Like you had this beautiful suite in Kauai overlooking the ocean. You brought an IP related to hey, what do the waves remind you of? Create a framework about that. So let's talk about location for a second, because I think that was a smart move from you to move us there. And I was so grateful because we were had some fresh air. What role does the location play in creating a great experience?
I think it's more important for the smaller groups. Great place. The venue is very, very important. So, it could be a beachfront property. It could be, it could be in an urban center that has a lot of excitement to it, like New York.
Yeah.
We had a very successful group meeting in Phoenix, where you have the Phoenician Resort, for example. But with the larger groups, I want them to spend money on me and not the hotel room. So I get really great rates because I'm spending so much money. Yeah. And you might get a room for $120 or something. However, there's there's not as much need to have a great property as to have a great program. A lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the smaller groups, somebody's room could cost, $500, $800.
Mm.
But these are people who can afford it.
Yeah. Let's talk
Or-
about program for a second. Like, because when you are working with a big group, there's a variety of people that are coming to your events, people that maybe are still in their jobs and looking to consult, people that have started, people on the other end that have, 20 years in. So how do you design a program that works?
Well, I find that you have to just overwhelm people with value. You have to show them things that they never suspected. You don't solve any problems. You recast and reframe problems so that they say, I never looked at it like this before. I'll give you a quick example of something. I wrote my first book with a guy named Michel-Robert, and he and I came out of the same consulting firm in Princeton. We said, let's write a book. We didn't know anything. And the book is still on the shelves, The Innovation Formula.
Wow. Yeah.
That's 1985, right? It's been used in 4 universities. We didn't know anything. We just did it. So Mike was an expert in strategy. He ran strategy programs. He would invite 20 executive CEOs to Pebble Beach, California for 2 days with their spouses if they wanted to come. And Mike picked up all of the expenses. So he paid for their rooms, paid for their meals. He'd pay for greens fees if people wanted to play golf. And he said, all I want you to do is spend 1 day with me. The other day, you can do whatever you want. That's what he said. And he'd get 20 people. Now, at the time, his strategy program sold for $150,000. And of 20 people, he did this 2 or 3 times, he sold an average of 18 every time.
Oh my goodness.
So
Love this guy.
courage, got to have courage.
Let's talk about courage, because I think this is a huge thing. People are probably listening to this or jumping on, watching the replay and thinking, I'd love to run something like this. Of course, who wouldn't want to? I mean, you're in great places around great people. It's great for your business. But this courage part around, selling tickets, it is there's risk involved. There's a bit of ego involved. Talk to me about how can we get better at selling tickets and getting people to want to come to our events? I mean, sure, giving a trip away is very easy, but what if you don't have those resources?
Don't think about selling. There are 2 things that are really important. One thing is that you have to be an object of interest, and people want to come to be with you because you're almost like a mystical figure. They've read books, they've seen your videos, but to be with you in person, it's got to be like that. For the smaller groups, they know they're going to be in a high-end environment. For the larger groups, they know they're going to have access that they wouldn't otherwise have. Of all my peers in this business who own a niche, I am the most accessible, which is a blessing and a curse.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that's one thing. The second thing is what I've trademarked as the attraction that you get, the chain reaction of attraction, which is you focus on people who themselves have followers, and they spread the word, and they come, and the people who follow them come.
Yes.
So for larger events, you need those 2 things, but you have to make it in your promotion. You have to make it all about value and not about price and not about sales. And you have to show them, for example, in this day and age, I talk about the no normal. So there's not going to be a return to normal. There's not going to be a new normal. You have to get used to no normal. And here are 4 ways to do it. So people say, well, I need to hear that.
Yeah, because you mentioned earlier that what you're doing is overwhelming with value. You're not solving anything, but you're just casting a new frame on that. And it sounds like you're already doing that in your marketing beforehand. But a lot of this is built off the back of the years of building a brand and becoming that mystical figure. I do want to ask you that question. I think you mentioned it in your email this week. You are very accessible. I was shocked when I reached out to you for the first podcast interview in 2020. In 5 minutes later, you responded. And I mean, you said it was a blessing and a curse. Talk more about that. Because definitely your peers are totally out of touch.
Well,
Out of range.
but if you look at my peers like Marcus Buckingham or Marshall Goldsmith or Seth Godin and so forth, they all own a niche like I do. Mine's solo consulting, and they're wonderful people and bright people. I respect all of them. But you call them, you write to them. If they don't know you, you're not going to get a response.
Yeah.
They're hopping all over the planet. They're doing a lot of things. But I decided early on that I was going to respond to everybody, and so when $1 Million Consulting comes out, for 4 years, I was responding for free to people who had questions. I said, I'm spending more time on this than my paying clients. So I find that, if you look at a curve here, accessibility is really important because people feel comfortable with you. But there comes a red line where People think because they bought a book for $25, they can call you and ask you a coaching question.
Yeah.
My favorite is a guy on social media who asked me a question, and I said, I do not coach for free. He said, oh, I'm not asking for coaching. I'm asking just for some advice.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I think it's like that guy, like, well done to him for that reframe. TJ, g'day. Great to have you here. He shared that is an excellent distinction between not solving and adding value. Yeah, I think because even like when me hosting this event in June ConCon, I'm like, like my goal would be everyone walks out with an idea to get an extra $50,000 immediately. Do you think that's an unfair ambition to, or objective to put on myself?
I don't think it's unfair.
Yeah.
And, we all have our own style. I would phrase it differently. Being me, I would say something like, walk out of there with a renewed sense of belief in your worth, with your self-esteem higher, and be fearless no matter to whom you're talking.
I love
I
that.
would say something like that. And the reason is, everybody's promising more leads, more money, more closes. And those are important. But I think that if you work on people's inner strength, it's not something that they hear about as frequently.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah,
What's
that's
the most successful thing you've done in attracting people to events?
I think this event like the one that I pre-sold last year has probably been the most successful, but also the one I ran an event with Michael Bungay Stanier, the author of The Coaching Habit. And I think what it was appealing about that, first of all, it was like leverage of his brand, right? So, the chain reaction of attraction, like he's got an audience, but also we did it in a way we contained it. So we had people sign up to a wait list to even get invited along. And then we kind of ran it like a Taylor Swift concert, like tickets go on sale at 10 a.m. You got to get in. Otherwise, like the rooftop will sell out. And it did. So
Wait a minute. It could be cheaper to go to Paris than attend your event if it's a Taylor Swift concert.
yeah, that's right. And even with my event that's coming up, it was, so what I do is it was a bit of an experiment. I said to my peers and on my email list, hey, I want to run this event for consultants. It's not my core business. So I'm doing this, as a side thing. If I get 15 people to sign up within 24 hours, it's on. If we don't, it's not on. And I think in the first 20 minutes, we had 15 people. And it sold out within 8 days.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. And I think because then you get to a point now, because I capped it at 50 people, I wanted just the first one to be kind of a bit more intimate than all these people in a room. So yeah, I'm really excited. I'm working on the program now. And so this is really, really helpful hearing your tips too. When it comes to a smaller group, like you talked about the 7 to 9 people, how do you curate like the right mix? And have you ever had an experience, and maybe you don't want to share, where maybe someone hasn't been the right person that's come along to an event?
I've had one occasion, my $1 million consulting college, right? That's a high-end program.
Mhm.
And there's typically 12 to 20 people in there. And they're paying, 15,000 or so each, right? That's a high-end event. And one time, in all the ones I've run, the 20 I've run or whatever it's been, one time I had a guy who didn't belong there, not because he wasn't capable of making money, but because he wasn't capable of learning anything.
Mm.
He had a particular specialty in some kind of technical area, and he thought that was a mixed media effect. It made him an expert in everything. And I said, why did you come here if you want to disagree with everything? I mean, you could have stayed home and disagreed with me. So that was the only time, though, and that's a pretty good record after all those years.
Yes.
So I find that the way you curate people is, it's not just a question of income. I mean, you could have a person who's making X, but you see can easily go to Y or Z, and so belongs in the room. But it's a question of sophistication and maturity. You have to be able to accept critique. You have to be able to engage in role plays and not hide. You have to be able to provide social proof and examples and so forth. So you have to be somewhat well-traveled, somewhat well-read. So ironically, it's not so much about income as it is about your own maturity level.
Do you think it's like you attract those type of people because of who you are as well? Like you're all of those things. And so the people that, there's a nice compliment for you. So
This is why I love you so much.
So-
I did the first podcast with you.
yeah, okay. All right. I'll just make a note to compliment Alan on every talk the walk. But honestly, like, isn't that why you need to really go in and and your emails, like you can really piss people off as well, right? So,
Oh, yeah.
so the people that you're pissing off are not coming to your events, but that's good because
I don't want them.
you don't want them. Yeah.
Look, let me tell you something. People think that my expertise is in solo consulting and boutique consulting. And while I have expertise there, what really attracts people is lifestyle.
Yes.
And so on my site, I have my Rolls and my Mercedes. You can see what I'm wearing here, right? And I talk freely on social media about where my wife and I go and what we're enjoying. Is some airline comes up with a new bedroom suite on the plane, I'm in it. I'm
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Because the people who object to that, okay, you don't have to listen to me.
Yes.
Uh, but the people who really want to better their lives, I am an indication, because I began poor, really poor.
Yeah.
I am an indication that you can make it. And so it's a lifestyle business. And people say, I'm too young, I'm too old, I'm female, I have some ableness problems, whatever it happens to be. I can show people that it's their value that counts. And you can express your value in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I think you're right. You're absolutely right around people follow you because of your lifestyle. Yeah, I mean, like I was loving the photos from Portugal. I'm like, oh, definitely need to get back. But also, you made it okay to buy a convertible. So I was like, I've got one now, which is great. Thank you. I really enjoy it.
Good for
Brisbane's a
you.
great convertible weather. What do people get wrong about high end experiences? Like, is it a case of like, so I'm hearing this and I'm like, great. Like, I'm going to book a corporate box at the Formula One in Melbourne next year and just and run some coaching there. Is it about just, I mean, you said it's really about the value. So what do we get wrong when we're planning these types of events?
This is going to sound, that's a very good question. And
Mm,
you going to sound bizarre. If everybody watching this, we do not rehearse this at all.
yeah.
At all. You do not want the focus to be on some special event. You want the focus to be on you. So, for example, when I ran the $1 Million Consulting Colleges, or I ran the Thought Leadership Conferences and things like this, I would take the group to a Broadway play if we were in New York. And we'd see a great play, right? Usually my wife and I had seen it already, so I knew. But the next day, we would discuss the play. We'd take it apart, we'd parse it, and we talk scenes and how it got written and how we can apply it. And so the play became a part of the value I was offering, as opposed to like I took them to some special event,
Yes.
And when I would arrange for tours when I had high-end groups together, we would tour, an island wherever we happen to be, or Kyoto or something. But then we talk about the tour and what was it good? Was it not? What does it mean? We decided in Kyoto that we all came out of the closet. We all came out of the closet and admitted we couldn't stand sitting at what are they, tatami mats or tables where you had to keep your legs underneath.
Oh, yeah.
7 courses and it took 9 hours and you could not feel your legs anymore. We all said, okay, enough.
Oh, that's great. I'm wondering, you talk about COVID and the impact of that, and everyone now is talking in that, sharing it's the experience economy right now. People are jumping in for experiences. People want connection. It's kind of rebounded. I'm curious around virtual. Do you think it's possible to create a high-end virtual experience?
Very difficult.
Yeah.
I really believe that in high touch, and the higher tech goes with AI and everything else, the higher touch is required. And so I can't believe that I could get a dozen people to pay $15,000 to sit with me on Zoom. And I don't know that I could diversify enough and keep my energy up enough.
Yeah.
Because you have to work harder on Zoom. I did a
Yes, we
workshop
do.
on self-esteem, on assertiveness, but it's 90 minutes, and so I can keep plugging away for 90 minutes, and I have a great time. I tell stories, but for 3 days, I don't think so.
No.
So I don't think it can be done. I think you need to be there in person, and I think in terms of forming community, it's important to have audio and video and books and narrative and everything, but it's important that people can see you, can be with you. And so, I'm going to do something in London. I'm going to do something in LA. I have 5 books that are coming out this year. So that's how you stay engaged.
And how far do you plan this out? At the beginning of the year, do you go, I want to be in these places and then design something? Or do you think, like what's your process?
1 or 2 of my groups, they pick places to go, but they pass it by. They don't pass it by me, they pass it by my wife.
Yeah.
We know we have to be happy. And so they pass it by my wife. And that's how we go to these places. But normally, I would say to my wife, I have to do something overseas. Where do you feel like going? And that's what we do. I mean, we went to Buenos Aires. My wife wanted to go to Argentina and I wanted to go to the Galapagos. So a group said that would be great, they said. So we went in Buenos Aires for a couple of days. We had a great time. Then on the way back, we stopped in the Galapagos and, saw humongous tortoises. I will tell you that once you see one blue-footed booby, you've seen all of them.
Okay. Pretty amazing.
So, yeah. And so that's how we do it. And I'm not rigorous about this. I say, I'd like to do something. And then if I'm still thinking about it a couple of days later, it'll formulate.
Yeah. And then we'll probably see it on your email on the Monday where you sort of put the idea out.
Oh yeah, I am a shameless promoter.
Yeah. I think that's got something to do with it as well. And I mean, that's got everything to do with it. When I grow up, I want to be like, me too. I also want to be a lifestyle consultant. This is why we're talking about this. We're all here to be like Alan. I think that's the ultimate brand goal. People wanting to be like you.
Well, I mean, that's what happens. And I prove it. You can do it. And I prove, more importantly, you could do it unashamedly. I'm in my podcast this coming Thursday is going to be with Randy Gage, a friend of mine. The both of us agree that if we're not pissing somebody off every day, we're not doing our job. And Randy's got a new book out. I forget the exact name of it, but he's talking about prosperity without guilt, wealth without guilt.
Wow, that's a great topic.
Yes. And so we're going to be talking about that. I don't call these interviews, I call them conversations.
Yeah.
But you've got to be able to live your life the way you wanted to without guilt, and I tell people, it's ain't my daddy's money,
Mm. Yeah. I'm wondering how, like, because even so my next book is about becoming work famous. And I, spoke to people within Australia about that, but also interviewed people like around the world. And within Australia, there seems to be that thing around, I mean, that tall poppy, but you have to get over that. I mean, you absolutely have to. So, and in America, it doesn't seem like people seem to be more supportive of success as well. And I'm not saying that's a cop out. I'm just saying, yeah, it's interesting. There's a social dynamic. TJ also wants to be like Alan. So you've got like this trio of people that just want to be like you.
Cesariano, if I'm saying the name right, Cesariano, just tell us where you're from, unless you know.
No, I don't know. Yeah, Cesariano, let us know where you're dialing in from. Yeah. Any final words or pieces of advice for people like us that want to do cool things like you?
Yeah, I think that you have to understand upside, downside. And that is, there's a huge upside to doing this, and the downside's minimal. But we tend to exaggerate the downside. I'm going to lose money. People won't come. I'll have to cancel. You have to be bold.
Yeah.
One of the phrases I hate the most from COVID is an abundance of caution. And it's a cop-out. It's like, what that means is you're scared. And so you're calling it an abundance of caution. I tell people who are agnostic, well, listen, that's atheist light.
Ish. Yeah, I agree. I think if you are running a business, a lot of it's about risk. And like you said, the downside really isn't that much at all. Dee, years ago, I was embarrassed to drive my Mercedes to church. I'm over it, thanks to Alan. Way to go, Dee. Driving a Mercedes, eating Pringles. Okay, Alan, it's been great chatting to you. Thank you so much and for those who have joined us live, thank you for jumping on Talk the Walk. If you're joining us on the replay, let us know in the comments what your highlight was from today's episode. And Alan, we're catching up again. I think our next one's in the first week of June. So yeah, stay posted for your socials.
So, put that on your calendars. It'll be circulated by Leanne, and we look forward to seeing you in June.
Yeah. All right. Cheers to you, Alan. Thanks for talking the walk.
You, Leanne. You have, let's see, a wonderful day.
Thank you. Have a lovely evening.